All right, so this session is essentially for anyone that is interested in building a wallet, right? What does it mean building a wallet? Velocity Network is the Ethereum of the job market, right? And as with Ethereum, right, anyone can build a wallet or any other type of application that interacts with the blockchain, right? Wallets are the most immediate application that can interact with the blockchain, right? So what we did at Velocity Career Labs, we had to jumpstart the ecosystem, so we built the first wallet. But our intentions are never to be seriously playing in that space. So we're extremely happy that we have 6 or 7 organizations building their own wallet. Some of them, right, are here to tell you that they can help you if you want to build your own wallet, right? And that's what the session is about. So why would you build a wallet? It's not a trivial question. I don't think anyone should be building a wallet unless they have a good business model behind it, right? It's not moving for some reason. That's magic. Here it's moving, here it's not moving.
It's because I plugged my Mac in.
Maybe, yeah. All right. So we've covered this, right? Why would you build a wallet? You would build a wallet if you are in the space of wallets, identity wallets, right? What we've seen is Yoti moving one step at a time towards having a unified credentialing experience across multiple verticals, identity, health, and through the Velocity Network protocol, career and education credentials. So imagine Yoti in 5 years are the ultimate wallet experience, right? Pay, identity, health, passports, everything is on one wallet. So either identity wallet provider or existing career wallet providers, right? There are out there organizations like Greenlight Credentials that have been early trailblazers in that space, but then we're stuck at the point of interoperability. Yes, they've built a wallet. Yes, they have an ecosystem, but the job market is so fragmented and so wide. How would their students or how would their wallet holders will be using these credentials across the broad world of work? So this is why Greenlight Credentials have joined the Velocity Network Foundation, essentially to be part of that big interoperability play. So that B2C service providers, so some of the larger staffing industry players, the ones that employs millions of people, right, would like to create a whole new way to engage contingent workforce, right? And in that, they're moving towards building a wallet where the entire life cycle of a contingent assignment will be managed through. The individual will be submitting their credentials, earning credentials, but also be able to receive other services on top of it. It's a very interesting play. One of the most interesting plays, I think, would be big job boards, right? So job boards essentially boasting with the numbers of profiles they have in their systems, right? An organization like Indeed is essentially saying, look, we have 500 million profiles in our system, right? So if you're an employer, right, we are very valuable to you because if you post a job, we'll be able to push that job to the profiles that match the job's criteria, right? The dark secret, but also the very known secret of this industry is that 90% of these profiles are completely stale. no one updates the profile unless they're looking for a job. And we've all seen the numbers about active job seekers and passive job seekers and the ratio between. We're looking to create a situation where instead of that Indeed profile, individuals will have an Indeed wallet that is a live picture of the individual credentials, job experiences, and so on at any given time. So as long as the individual will permit the job board to look into that wallet, because it's a self-sovereign world, then Indeed will enjoy, right, a live, updated 500 million workforce rather than the repository of stale profiles. So all these are extremely, extremely interesting stuff that organizations are talking to us about. And that poses an opportunity, right, to ask questions: do we want to buy, build, or rent? Okay? The obvious reason is, the obvious answer is not necessarily that everyone that wants to build a wallet should build a wallet. You might want to buy a wallet, you might want to lease a wallet, and so on and so forth. So that's the session today, and it's a stage for Yoti, for GLC, for Thrivacy to come and basically tell you what they can do for you, right? So we start with Yoti.
Is there a way that I can plug my laptop in?
There's a very simple way. I will unplug my laptop,
But I have a USB-C interface. I don't know if that's...
and then I will give you this fancy
Oh, dongle. Okay.
dongle. And
Let's try and see if it works. All right. Okay, so I'll make it brief. For those of you that attended the previous session in the morning, you might have seen this slide. So we, again, since 2017, had a wallet or a mobile app for the users out there in the market. And as I said, it's kind of, we went through several iterations of making sure that the UX is optimized, and we just touched 12 million downloads. I wish I could say all of them are active. They're not. So we're trying to sort of build more and more utility into the app so that more and more people can start using. About a couple of years ago, we started engaging with Post Office in the UK. And they're a very large identity provider as well, because when you walk into a post office, you can buy foreign currency, and you sort of pick up parcels. For each of those things, there is a need for ID verification. They came to us and said, listen, we want to be able to provide the latest and the greatest tech and user app for our users, and they have about 17 million people coming into the stores every month, and they want to be able to promote this to them. We went through a year-long process of evaluation, and then they chose us, and we built an app for them. Basically, this is exactly the Yoti app. I mean, if you were to go to the app stores today in the US, you'll find Yoti. In the UK, you would find both a Yoti and what they call Easy ID. That's the brand that they use in the UK. This is geo-constrained to UK only, right? We now have two wallets running off of the same exact platform. And I'll just segue a little bit into what I'm going to call, what's that? White label apps. So what we've done with them is, that's the Yoti experience that you would see, and that's the Easy ID experience. Basically, we've taken the same code base. It's running off of the same platform at the core. We said we published two different apps, and look and feel, everything is the same. There are two fundamental principles that we followed. One, these two apps are interoperable. What that really means is that if I'm going to a Relying Party website and I see a QR code, if I have a Yoti already, I should be able to use a Yoti. If I don't have one but I have an Easy ID, I should be able to use that. If I have neither, I'm free to download either, right? So that's the kind of interoperability, and then we run and manage the system for them. It's not a separate application. Well, it is a separate application, but it's running off the same code base. And we've sort of figured out in a way that we do a release, and then 2 weeks later, we do the next release. So it's not like the same release, but that's sort of the details. So when we did this, and a lot of other companies like big banks came to us and said, listen, or big telcos came to us and said, listen, we have like tens of millions of people that we have, and we are regulated. We do want to do a very, sort of compelling consumer proposition ourselves. Can you help us? And can you do what you're doing with post office, right? And then we came back to the same thing. Is it interoperable? Can we sort of say in the UK or whichever market that we are in, can we do this? It could be, and then some people came to us from Philippines and Vietnam and that kind of place. Those countries are there from a market perspective, but I don't think we have an ability or a capability to build a network. And if somebody comes from, let's say, a big telco from Thailand comes to us and say, we will do that for you separately. Anyway, the purpose of this session really is what is that we can do? I mean, this is the minimum viable product. If somebody were to come to us and say, okay, can you build me a wallet that looks and feels and behaves like Yoti, right? What we can do is we can say, okay, these are the sort of changeable parameters. And like I said a little bit earlier, hopefully by the end of this calendar year, by Q4, we will publish Yoti on Velocity as well, which means that, let's say, any of the Velocity members who also have, let's say, a captive customer base that they would like to bring to Velocity Network, which is what we are trying to do, let's say, of our sort of active users, we'll publish, Velocity on our marketplace. We'll tell them, listen, there's an opportunity for you to claim credentials from Velocity and then sort of come here, right? That capability also we can offer. So that when that is ready, so we can, for a new business that comes to us, we can do basics, right? Color palette, skin is basically the skin. I don't think we have, unless there is a massive sort of refactoring of the code, can't do a whole lot more than that. What can we customize? We can say, like I said, the marketplace, we can tailor the marketplace for your businesses, right? For our business, for our aligned parties, we can publish them here. If you want to do that, for your markets and for your customers, you can do that separately. So basically, we can do the skin, we can do the marketplace. Depending on which country you're in, we can code it in a way that you accept only certain subset of documents. I mean, we as a company can accept up to 6,000 different unique documents in 200 different countries because we are global. But maybe depending on specific markets and specific document types that you want to accept, that we can sort of maybe down select them as well and hard code that. I mean, this is like when I say cost, if you were to just basically do only this, right? This is our very basic internal thing. In a matter of 3 months and sort of, with some effort, we can actually sort of put a product out there. There are certain things that we need you to be aware of, which is basically, some of the licenses that we use for OCR and protection. We have to worry about this, and then we can change certain, privacy policies because depending on where you are and depending on what kind of use cases you're targeting, the privacy policies and some of the copy in the app itself could be different. We can tweak that. And then we do the QA and design specific to your needs. Anyway, I think that I'll stop there. The point of this whole conversation is that the ability for us to publish another app, which is not a Yoti app but behaves like a Yoti app on a Velocity network, is possible. We can do some basic skin copy, marketplace sort of management base, right? Anything beyond that would be, a very specific conversation. And then a core principle that we would definitely want is that everything that we create should be interoperable, so that we're trying to build a network here, really, right? And we want to be able to sort of say, okay, because we are with very strategic partners we are creating, and then that partnership has to be strategic, right? It's not like we are not a developer. We're not a company that just charges fees to build your application. That's not our business. We'll never do that. Our business is to build a network. The reason why we're working with a post office or we would want to very deeply work with the Velocity network is a joint opportunity to be able to create a set of users that have the same objective and the same utility, right? If that is matching, then we will do it. If it doesn't, we will not do it. I mean, that's a pretty straightforward, we're not in it for short-term cash gains. That's not the model that we're following at all. I mean, we've spent about 100 million pounds in the business so far, so we're not looking for another $1 million to build a white label app. That's not the business at all. So I just want to make it very clear.
I have a quick question. I know you went through the cost. What is the one-time cost and what is the running cost?
We haven't figured that out at all. It's with post office, we did everything ourselves, and the arrangement that we have is that whatever revenues that will accrue over the next 5 years, we'll do a rev share. But they have not paid us a dime in terms of the actual development. Like I said, the principle of doing a partnership with post office is more about building a common network together. UK has 50 or 60 million people. We could attract some. They have 17 million people walking into their stores every month. They want to have an identity platform. We did that for them. Jointly we promote. We do a lot of joint promotions. Together, we want to build a network in the UK and win the market. So that's a very strategic objective. In the context of velocity, if we want to do an app, right, we work jointly in terms of use cases are very clear, right? Over the last day and a half, we've been talking about multiple use cases, multiple issuers, multiple relying parties, multiple stakeholders. As long as that alignment is there, then we will work together. Cost doesn't matter. We want to build a network. Is that?
Fantastic, thank you. Gordon, do you want to take the stage?
So, Gordon Jones, thank y'all for being here. So our story is a little bit different. We're an early stage startup. I teach blockchain and data privacy at the University of South Carolina. I'm also the entrepreneur in residence for the College of Information and Communications there. And so in all of my coursework, I teach entrepreneurship. So in my fall 2020 class, one of my students' problem was how she could help fellow students secure their identity. Her problem was basically when she goes down to they call it the entertainment district, and she gets carded, she's providing her state ID with her picture, her name, her home address, and her actual birth date on there, which is two problems, a safety issue and a security issue. So the safety issue is if the bouncer likes her, he can now stalk her because he knows her name and where she lives. From a security standpoint, those are 3 data points of which they can start stealing identity. And the food and beverage industry is prompt with those who use it to steal identities. And so throughout the course, she learns about the technology and applies that to solving her problem. Before that, I was not in the identity space, but I had been dealing with blockchain since 2013 when I bought my first Bitcoin. And that's how I got to be teaching it at the University of South Carolina as adjunct. So we decided to start the company up. We started it up in 2021. The focus of everything that we were doing is we wanted to help people who, over the past 2.5 years, we've all become more digital, which has only enabled the big tech companies to use our data for their purposes and not for ours, is to self-sovereign everybody's identity. So don't use an Apple or Google Pay wallet. Use a decentralized identity wallet. And so we both started digging into the whole industry. We joined the Linux Foundation. I was a contributor to the Trust Over IP Foundation, which is building an identity layer for the internet with W3C and others. So basically what Privacy actually is the brand name of our wallet. We've developed actually 4 versions of it, primarily on Hyperledger Indy, which is a permission-based but decentralized identity schema for through the Linux Foundation and leveraging Hyperledger. IBM leverages Hyperledger, but they have their own flavor that they call Fabric. So where we are today is basically we have MVPs. We're not on the open Apple or Google store, and we're doing pilots. How we've got with Velocity is we have pilots with the University of South Carolina where we're converting their college degrees as a proxy, but not verified by the Velocity yet, but as a proxy through these demonstrations, being able to convert the graduates. We did 200 in December, and we did 300 just this past May, so that we could give the students who elected, who received, claimed their credential, a digital version of their sheepskin. We also have, we're a startup good company with a company called Blackbaud. Blackbaud is the world's largest SaaS for nonprofit management systems. They're based out of South Carolina where we are. And what we're doing with them is actually more of what we've been talking about today, is helping Blackbaud convert their internal training programs to be able to provide their employees with verifiable credentials that say, okay, yes, you went through this training, and now here it's an immutable record that you can control in your own self-sovereign identity, decentralized wallet that you can then take with you if you go somewhere else. They're using it as incentives to promote engagement with their employees, so they don't necessarily want their employees to go somewhere else, but it gives them a level of trust, saying, okay, well, you went through this training and now it's a part of your portfolio and you can take that with you.
Gordon,
Yeah.
if this crowd is interested in building a wallet,
Yeah.
what type of
So
partnership can you offer?
Yeah, so we don't have a white label product yet, but we have a dev team. We partnered with a company called Kiwi Tech. They've actually have equity in what we're doing. They're a worldwide tech firm. And so we can actually customize what we've already started to build into whatever purposes you may need. So if you're an organization that doesn't want to build your own wallet, we have the capabilities to come bring our experience and expertise that we've already started developing and maybe co-develop a wallet with you.
Fantastic, thank you.
Then it's thrivesc.io.
Shrikant?
Actually, I don't have a lot prepared for today. I just presented everything I had to say earlier today. We are developing a wallet for Greenlight for our institutions that are using Greenlight. We haven't thought about a white label solution yet, but there's others doing it. So, but yeah, for now, we have a lot of students already using our current Greenlight wallet, so we want to upgrade them to use a velocity-based wallet. So that's what our focus is right now. So, thank you.